In this video, I'll be exploring the city of Hue, the home of Vietnam's last royal dynasty. I explore the Imperial city and visit a variety of luxurious temples and tombs because who doesn't want to have the coolest place of burial, and I also finally find a piano for the first time overseas. As well, I'm going to let you know why Hue is well worth visiting on your trip, as I do feel like it is quite an underrated place compared to many others in Vietnam. We'd previously had a couple of relaxing days in Ha Long Bay, so we arrived in Hue ready to explore, and we started off by doing a city tour, with the goal of visiting some of the historic sites as well as a few new and unique places. We made our way via boat to our first stop, the Fairy Lady Pagoda, which, other than having one of the coolest names ever, is the oldest pagoda in the city of Hue. We saw a lot of monks here, and honestly, out of all the pagodas I've been to, I was actually really impressed by the architectural design and layout of this one, as it's one of the most aesthetically pleasing and calming and well-designed environments that I've been in. After enjoying the tailor-made environment, we were on our way to visit the Citadel, or the Imperial city, which is the home of Vietnam's last royal dynasty, the Ming dynasty. This place was absolutely immense, and I think you would need multiple days to be able to look around all of it, but unfortunately we only had a few hours to spend there. I've mentioned this before, but when I visit places that are owned by the government, royalty, military, or high-ranking officials, etc., I find it really interesting to think about how much money is going into these places compared to what goes to the general population. If you look at the opulence of some religious temples, tombs and palaces compared to the general day-to-day life of a person in that country, it's a pretty extreme difference, and this place was definitely a very good example of that. It was also really interesting to be able to learn a bit about the history, as one of the kings had over 350 wives, which is kind of crazy to think about. Spent some time learning about Vietnam's royal history. It was then time to learn a bit about the Vietnamese afterlife, or the royal tombs. We made our way to Mang tomb, which is considered the most majestic, and I have to be honest and say that I love and also hate visiting the tombs because they're such beautiful architectural marvels, but at the same time, even if you believe in an afterlife, I don't think that can be that based in the physical realm, so that money could really be so much better spent elsewhere. It was incredibly beautiful to look at and so well designed, but at the same time it seems to be a little bit of favoritism compared to the regular old graves that most people get. We then visited another nearby tomb, which unfortunately I can't find the name of, but it was also incredibly beautiful, and I did prefer this one to the previous as it blended into its natural surroundings very well. There was this beautiful harmonious blend of nature and man-made construction. We then visited a place where they make incense, and I even got to have a go at making some, although I must say that the locals are definitely much better at it than we are.
Look easy, not easy, right?
No, it's not easy.
Look easy, but not easy.
It's absolutely not easy.
No, it's very hard.
Well done.
Cut it down. Cut in the middle. It's finished. Good job. You can stay here for 1 minute. Stay here 1 night for.
We stopped for an afternoon coffee, and then I managed to find a cafe that had a piano in it, as I taught myself how to play piano by practicing nearly every day, and so whenever I don't have access to a piano anymore, I always get really worried I'm going to forget every single thing I've ever learnt. But luckily I have found that's not the case, and even though I was a little bit shaky, I still managed to pull off Interstellar reasonably well. We then had some banh mi for dinner before heading the next morning to Hoi An, which is going to be next week's vlog, so I hope you'll tune in for that one. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day wherever you are.